Hello everyone, I'm Lee Ji-hye and welcome to In the Newsroom, where we bring you the behind-the-scenes look on how we deliver the news to you. And from North Korea's bellicose moves to futuristic IT gadgets and a special conference aimed at discussing emerging markets of medical tourism, our reporters had it all covered. I had a chance to talk to some of them earlier in the day, and this is what they said. In the Newsroom begins right now. Right, so it was a week filled with high tensions on the Korean Peninsula after numerous signs have been detected in the north that there could be an imminent missile launch from the north. I mean, the intelligence sources say the necessary preparations are ready. There's been a lot of movements on the site, and even South Korean Defense Ministry said that it could happen as early as April 10th, but that was yesterday. Right. Today is the 11th. We still haven't heard any news of a missile launch, but still there's heightened speculation that this could happen sometime within this month.
Right. There are certain dates that are more likely than other dates, such as this coming Saturday, which is the date Kim Jong-un has took his throne in North Korea, and it's coming Monday, which is the founder Kim Il-sung's birthday. And we also have the 25th of April, which is the day of the People's Defense, or the Army of the People's Republic, North Korea. So there are a lot of candidates, and we cannot be sure which date they will attempt or at least try to launch their missile, allegedly located in the east side of the North Korea right now.
See, and there's also speculation it could be a number of missiles simultaneously from different sites. So the high-stakes standoff with North Korea continues. I mean, for a month we've been covering this North Korea-related news for so long. I mean, we have a lineup meeting just after this shoot, but then I guess it's pretty much we know what the headlines are going to be, right?
North Korea.
North Korea. A lot of the constant statements and responses from the countries like the United States, China, and neighboring countries. So a lot of the news have been dominating our newscast for a while.
오늘 제일 중요한 거는 그 미사일 발사 오늘 예정된 거 아닌가?
다은 씨가 12시 뭐 전화 연결하는 건 어떻겠냐고 그래서
그러니까 MNG 연결을 하면 되지.
카메라팀한테 바로 연락해가지고 바로 출발하라고 제가 12시 하고
네.
시간 저녁 6시까지는 뭐 연결을 하는 걸로 하고 내가 볼 때는 오늘부터 목금은 다 가는 거지.
비상으로 대기해야 될 것 같아요.
Significant cyber warfare. Pyongyang started developing its cyber.
And for the latest, we connect live to Han Da-eun, who's standing by at South Korea's Defense Ministry. Hello, Da-eun, what's the latest?
Well, Yusun, additional signs have been detected this morning of North Korea's possible missile launch. According to multiple government sources, Pyongyang has deployed several missile launch vehicles at 2 of its launch sites.
As another scare tactic to increase inter-Korean tensions, our Lee Ji-yoon tells us more.
The top U.S. military commander in the Pacific, Admiral Samuel Locklear, says the U.S. is capable of shooting down a North Korean missile.
Kim Han-ho tells us how North Korea paralyzed tens of thousands of computers and servers here in the south.
The methods used to carry out the hacking incident in March were identical to the ones previously identified as being from North Korea. The government is expected to prepare follow-up measures for enforcing South Korea's cybersecurity at a meeting on Thursday.
Washington is fully prepared to counter any provocations by North Korea that target the United States or its allies.
Defense Secretary Chuck Hagel said North Korea has been creeping very close to a dangerous line with its recent threats of war. Hagel said Washington is fully prepared to defend its citizens and those of its allies from any provocations by the North. The U.S. military organizations and government organizations
And like Chie, this Tuesday, I think the Gaeseong Industrial Complex, it announced it's going to be shut down. And I think you must have had a pretty hard, busy day because, you had to do anchoring, you had to write scripts, and you also did the chroma.
Yeah, well, It was the very first time that the Gaeseong Industrial Complex had actually shut down since its operation back in 2004. So it's all down to speculation, but I digged into a projected, financial losses from both Koreas. I found out the amount is extremely hefty. We're talking millions and billions of dollars here. I mean, for the South, we have more than 120 factories and companies operating there. And we have invested about $8 billion in total since 2004. And minus the $2 billion of accumulated turnover since 2004, it's about $6 billion, and that's like 6 trillion won, so that's a lot of money we're talking about here. And for the North, I mean, the stakes are even higher. I mean, they have 54,000 people working there with an average of about $144.
I mean, it was surprising for me. I knew, Koreans are used to this rhetoric, threatening to put Koreans in a hell of fire and all that, but at this time they took a step ahead. It was kind of alarming to me that they would risk their own economic gateway, right?
Some
Profit.
people call it fountain of dollars.
The risk of themselves to get the message that we're serious. So it was kind of shocking to me.
It is shocking, and no one really took them seriously when they actually threatened that they're going to shut it down. But they actually pulled all the workers out. The operation is in a standstill right now, and they're dealing about like $90 million a year. This is a clear sign that they're serious, and all the eyes are on, North Korean leader Kim Jong-un, what he's planning on doing, what his next move is, how long he's trying to continue down this road. But it's not only South Korea who is actually keen on finding out what's going to happen next, but other countries as well.
Right, and that includes like countries that are located the farthest from Korea, like the ones in South America. They actually wanted a very comprehensive report, I think would wrap up of the whole situation, including the situation here and how people are reacting, as well as how Washington is treating this situation regarding to North Korea. And it was very responsible and a big deal to me because it's a very delicate issue, especially for a continent like Latin America that is not very well aware of North Korea and the detention of the Korean Peninsula. So I actually wanted to stress that the daily lives here in Seoul has not changed as much as a lot of people outside of Korea think it is. And
were they surprised to hear about this outwardly calm attitude of Korean people to this nuclear threats?
Because we've seen this, we've heard it, and it's been just too many, threats coming from North Korea. And I think people are kind of getting used to it or immune to the threats. I think it's now on an annual basis. So although I did not elaborate on why we are so immune to it, I try to actually deliver that in my report.
And I think it's interesting because it seems like the whole situation, like foreigners seem to be more alarmed, more agitated by the situation in this peninsula. And as you mentioned, like coming on the broadcast for Colombia, I think I know that Colombia was also embroiled in some kind of internal conflicts with the central government and the revolution groups called FARC, I think, FARC, F-A-R-C. And, so I guess they will also be interested in how the whole situation is evolving in this peninsula. So.
All right, let's move on to some lighter news now. Myung-gil, I see that you brought some gadgets with you again.
Yes,
Can you share with us?
Yes, this is a 3D glass. It's from Acupix. It's a Korean mid-sized tech firm. And although North Korea is unpredictable, this product is predictable because it will be the future-oriented computerized technology.
Wearable computers are not too far off in the future, and to walk us through these futuristic gadgets, our Tim Myung-gil joins us in the studio.
Well, these wearable devices are actually a form of a hands-free computer, and it can actually display information, and you can even interact with the internet and even detect motions. And Google has showcased its Google Glass, and Apple is rumored to be producing an iWatch. 안녕하세요 교수님. 네네.
그러니까 그 사실 이런 거 나오실
3D 입체 영상 쪽 면에서 관련해서 좀 간략하게 설명 좀
그 다음으로는 이제 안경 같은 이런 특징이라고 얘기가 되고 있는 집적 영상법에 대해서
3D 입체 영상 기술하면 그냥 이런 거라 보면 된다 이렇게.
그러니까 입체 영상을 3차원 디스플레이라고 얘기하는 것은 그런 어떤 심리적인 인지 요소에 호소하는 것이 아니고 생리적인 인지 요소, 진정한 초점 변화라던가 양안 시차라던가 이런 것들을 이용을 해서 입체 정보를 전달하는 그런 방식을 3차원 디스플레이라고 얘기를 합니다.
네. 네. 요건 어떤 기능이 있는 거죠? 모노클러.
얘도 지금 저희가 개발만 때 양산을 안 했거든요. 웨이터 한쪽 눈에만 있는 거고 안에 저희 이렇게 모니터가
되게 좋다. 진짜 약간 극장에서 보는 듯한 느낌이 드는 것 같아요. 오, 재밌다. 좀 짱인데요? 되게 좋다 이거. 저 아리랑 TV 진영길인데요. 이게 저희 지금 8층에 있습니다. 박사님께 연구하시는 분야랑 웨러블, 단순 웨러블이 아니라 그러니까 그게 뭐가 있는지 뭐 이런 게 있을 수도 있고 저는 좀 이게 다 접목을 할 수 있는 건지.
현재는 사실 그 단순한 이미지나 텍스트, 인포메이션을 전달하는 그런 웨어러블 컴퓨팅 기능만 있지만 앞으로는 좀 더 실감적인 영상이나 그 웨어러블 컴퓨팅 기기로 진화될 거라고 생각합니다. 네.
이건 국산 기술. 사람을 컴퓨터에 시켜서 탄소를 넣었을 때는 이제 나중에 기술에 이게 적용될 수 있는. 더 커졌네?
This reminds me of a movie a sci-fi movie, The Minority Report. I mean, it's an old movie if you think about it. It was aired about 2002, so it's been more than 10 years. But then, you know how there's this whole sensor devised, wearable glasses that he was wearing, all the mid-air, swooshing. I mean, back then it just seemed unreal, but now the technology is ready.
Yes, well, a lot of companies are actually undergoing developments towards not just 3D images, but they're also trying to integrate other technologies such as holography. Holography is like you have a wristwatch here, and there's like a little 3-dimensional screen that pops up with a reflected on this wristwatch. So that's one technology that's being developed, and there's also detecting motions, and like there's also navigational maps, and there are a plethora of other like tech-savvy technologies that are integrated into this small glass. And of course, like recently, Google Glass also released, they just showcased how this technology will be like shown to the people. So that was pretty interesting.
You mentioned Acupix. So, I mean, other than Acupix, it's Samsung and LG. I mean, who are really the innovators in this technology field. I mean, are they coming up with anything?
Well, I actually phoned Samsung and LG personally, but they sort of declined to comment on whether they're actually developing these wearable computers.
Kind of secret missions.
I think it's because their experts say the reason why they're not sort of revealing their like research into these fields is because the market is not really ready yet. So that is why experts say they're sort of delaying and they're sort of seeing other foreign rivals see how they catch up with these technology. But since Korea has a very strong foundation with its 3D displays, I mean, they're the #1 market, so we still have a lot of things to expect from these companies. And one thing interesting about Acupix, mid-sized tech firm was saying that they would actually rather want these like tech giants to actually open up the market for wearable computers so that these secondary comers like architects can have sort of wriggle way its into the market, the niche market.
I think it's so amazing how things change so fast, and I've only really recently gotten used to smartphones, and some people are barely integrating tablets into their routines, but how things change and how things are just
Yeah, I know, because that's interesting, because actually this month, April, marks the 40th anniversary of which smartphones were born, because they were born in 1973 in April, so it marks the 40th anniversary. And I'm sure we're living currently in an era of smartphones, but I'm sure this will evolve to like hands-free wearable like glasses and other smartwatch devices.
Screen phones.
So we have a lot of things to look forward to. So live long.
Well, speaking of living long, I don't know if this is a good transition or not, but there has been a very special forum being held in Seoul. We have invited a group of very special guests from overseas to do with medical tourism, medical system.
Right. I attended the Medical Korea 2013, which is one of the largest conventions in Asia, and experts, business people are coming together to find ways to how to deal with this growing trend, the globalization of medical services worldwide.
지금 봤거든요. 이게 확정이 안 된 상태였어요. 어제까지만 해도. 제가 지금 보고 알려드릴게요.
메디컬 코리아 2013 뉴스부터 시작하겠습니다. 먼저 축하 공연을 시작하시겠는데요.
I value our relationship and care health ministry. This is yet another endeavor to continue to share.
대한민국의 의료 서비스는 오바마 대통령께서 말씀하셨듯이 세계 최고의 의료 수준의 최저의 기업.
양국 장관님께서 요청합니다.
Hi, I'm Arirang TV reporter Kim
Hi.
Ji-yeon, and I'm interviewing you.
Okay.
And, you mentioned about Korea's role in this free flow of globalization and healthcare systems. What is Korea's role exactly?
Has good government support for attracting the international patient emerging. It's ready for prime time. I think Korea's fortunes would lie more in two areas. Who can argue?
Thank you so much for the interview. That was just what I wanted.
Korea's medical healthcare system has become a model of sorts for the Middle Eastern country of Saudi Arabia. The health ministers of both countries signed an agreement as part of the opening ceremony of the annual Medical Korea 2013 convention on Tuesday. The agreement is intended to boost bilateral cooperation for the development of state-run hospitals in Saudi Arabia. Included in the agreement is a so-called twinning project that assists Saudi Arabia in adopting the Korean system, along with a medical expert exchange program. Business people and medical experts from more than 30 different countries have come together here in Seoul at the Medical Korea 2013 to help promote Korea's medical tourism industry to the international community.
So you mentioned that you talked to some of the participants there. What did they say?
I talked to Joseph Woodman. He is the CEO and founder of Patients Beyond Borders, which is dedicated solely in comparing worldwide medical destinations. And I asked him, when we think about medical technology, we think of the United States or these Western countries in Europe. But he says, no, it's the emerging places are shifting away from the Western side, Western access to Asia, and Singapore, Malaysia, and Korea is certainly among one of those countries. And combining with the IT technologies and communications, it's well known. Its image is very well known in other countries.
I actually heard a lot of patients are shifting from other Asian countries to Korea because the rate is relatively cheaper and it's the service is way better with this advanced equipments and for expertise of the doctors, such as a lot of people used to go to Thailand for medical tourism, but now as Korea is rising thanks to the Korean wave and the popular touristic destinations such as Jeju Island and Myeongdong, a lot of especially Chinese and Japanese people are heading towards Korea so that they could actually shop and get their operations done and tour as well. So.
Statistics back it up. Just last year, it was around 156,000 foreign patients receiving treatment, and it's a 30% increase from the previous year. And experts say the number will increase in the coming years.
I think a lot of Korean hospitals are actually embracing this IT technology because recently I know there's one hospital that sort of, gave out all these PC notebooks, like PC tablets to its patients so that they can on regular basis contact their doctors regularly if they have some emerging situations. They can connect via the PC tablet on the camera and then sort of talk with the doctor although he's busy away. So I think Korea has a good strong foundation to be on.
Right. Right, so we dealt with quite a range of stories today. Thank you very much for sharing them with us. And guys, keep up the good work.
All right.
All right.
North Korea's belligerent rhetoric. Work week has gotten shorter and process will continue throughout. Our EGU tells us more.
In the countries like Libya and on the gas pedal.
저는 엔저이겠어요. 그다음에
Given the current circumstances,
President sometime in early May.
Arirang.
Arirang News.
부러뜨렸다. 나 안 그랬어요.
오 해봐요.
More than 30 different countries have come together here in Seoul.
오케이 선배.